the Trumplicons, and the maggot brains, the Zionistas, and the Christian nationalist, religious fascists, the modern-day carpetbaggers, the billionaires, the oligarchs, and the siliconservatives from that distant Californian valley, which was not the one which burned down in the LA fires. Anyway, soon it seemed that the new American president would replace his federal workers with AI robots, which would be far cheaper. His official magician Musk would systematically replace all humans in the federal offices worldwide with contracts of his own. 10/3/25. And 10 years on, what does America, and indeed the world, look like since the advent of Trumplicon and his protege and benefactor, perhaps the real power behind the throne? Elon Mars Musk, the great one who lent Trumplicon all that money to get off his legal hooks, and of course, to buy the election of November 2024. Trumplicon the Great, the president who became president for life and made America great again, the man who finally resolved the war in Ukraine and the war against the Palestinian terrorists and all their people, including women and children, and was finally awarded the Nobel Peace Prize after he threatened the judges. Trumplicon had already been 78 when he came into office in 2025, and despite surviving numerous assassination attempts, managed to claim full power over the many places he conquered and extorted, carving the world up into zones of influence and control between the superpowers. His friend and backer, comrade, Putin, was granted hegemony over all of the old Eastern Europe once they were able to knock out those puny countries one by one, while Trumplicon himself ruled all of the Americas, including Canada and Mexico, and parts of Western Europe, including Britain, which Elon managed to subvert into voting for their right-wing party reform once they removed the appealing Farage after Elon finally fell out with him. Anyway, Trumplicon did actually die, not of assassination, but of dementia, which finally took him down, although somebody probably did give him a little bit too much of some medication, and somebody else did probably finally switch off his life support a little early at the end. Elon had him removed from power for his own sake, because he could hardly string two words together, and his sense of reality really had disappeared. Many, of course, having believed that his sense of reality had never really been there in the first place. He died, ostensibly of natural causes at age 85, although some who accused Elon of hastening his demise were imprisoned and were never seen again. Elon blamed it on J.D. Vance, his official vice presidente, and a small civil war erupted, and Vance was shunted off to space, where he died in an ignominious explosion which some said was rigged. But the rocket was soon rebuilt by Elon's technology, his robots, and his money, and Elon built a savior machine, as anticipated by that great prophet of the 20th century, David Bowie. Elon was the only man who could have imagined building such an AI monstrosity, no doubt in homage to his great mentor, the original Trumplicon, who established his grip on power and science, which he, Elon Mars Musk, still holds today. Despite Elon, the genius, having all the power and creativity of science at his personal and empirical disposal, and having attached memory implants to give himself even greater information and AI enhancement, the elongation of life project was not quite so effective, and Elon was finally forced to replicate his own brain patterns and memories into Trumplicon 2, the savior machine, so his own visions and capacities and business acumen could be preserved for future generations and be used to save and to guide the human race forevermore, or until such time as the human race could make the successful transition to Mars and beyond, or be struck by the inevitable sooner or later asteroid hit. Currently, the real Elon is still alive and in control, but his body is not quite what it was, and Trumplicon 2 is ready and waiting, filled with all the information it needs for the unfortunately inevitable takeover when the Musk Master dies.